Hey everyone, thanks you again for joining us for another episode of the Liverpool Connection Podcast. This is PubChat. We're at Jono's newly revamped studio,
We got the water tank banner in here.
nicely set up.
Taking a
The
Christmas
lighting
break.
is a little bit off, Jono,
Yeah.
but
Not my best angle.
But I will commend you on your Christmas beard.
Thank you, sir. I'm kind of proud of that. See, been working on that for a couple of weeks, couple of days.
Couple of years, anyway. So we missed doing a post game pod after Tottenham. I was in Cozumel, and
Very nice.
the humble brag. The internet's kind of sketchy.
Right.
I was kind of drunk. All inclusive, it gets you, and when you win a game 6-3, a lot of goals. There's a lot of beers and shots involved.
It's dangerous.
When it's all inclusive,
Liverpool are
and
beating Team 6-3.
it probably would have been a pretty good quality podcast, but I spared all you guys. But here I am in my Christmas jumper.
Very fetching, Steve. Yes.
Thank you. We're at the pub today at BD Rowley's, our great host usually, and
It was packed, Steve.
packed for Boxing Day. I'm going to tell you, Jono, probably out of all the fixtures, this is probably my favorite one. The Boxing Day one, when you have people from out of town, they don't usually come to the pub, and they're all there. And then it's a 2:00 kickoff here locally, so you have people that are just walking around. They're looking for lunch, and they see everybody at the pub.
We had a lot of bystanders outside watching the game, and I think it was pretty entertaining. I think we may have gotten some new fans today.
Well, we call new fans. We call that buying people drinks, and whatever it takes to convert people to Liverpool, we will do it because we are ambassadors. We wear the crest every day. But anyway, so we're coming in today, and what a great set of results before the game. You got Everton taking points off City.
Love our blue brethren. They're taking points off everyone.
And it's kind of bittersweet for them, right? They're taking points off everybody. It's just
it.
solidifying our position on top of the league. We love them, right? In a step kid kind of way.
Right. But I do think a lot of their fans were probably hating it. They were like, we got some points. We might stay up, but we're helping the Reds.
Yeah, but I mean, their last 3 results have been to help us, right? It's amazing because before that, they're horrible. They're so horrible. But anyway.
And Chelsea? I mean, everybody, a few games ago, we draw 2 games and everybody's getting a little worried. They're getting a little close. And then what happens immediately when the pressure comes on them a little bit? They drop points in 2 games in a row. I thought they were just going to draw that Fulham game, but I tell you what, Fulham are a team, and it just makes our game against them with 10 men more impressive, I think.
Well, I mean, we mentioned that before because, like, Fulham, when you look at the data, they're really a top 6 to 8 team, right?
Yeah.
So they haven't had the results, but, man, they showed it today. And then the coup de grace. That's my French from the Caribbean French. It's Man United
against the mighty Wolverhampton
mighty,
Wanderers.
The Wolves. But I mean,
Lord.
It couldn't happen to a better person, Bruno getting the red card.
Oh,
but you know what?
What a guy. What a captain. Captain, leader of men, is what they say.
I would love him to be my captain if I was like on a sinking ship.
Oh, yeah. Can you just imagine? You're like, get out of the way, women and children. I'm getting in that lifeboat.
Just in case you guys haven't figured it out, this is going to be a fun podcast. We're going to have a good time. We're on Boxing Day. We're like kind of a little holiday, I've been traveling around the world and got here.
You're saying you've had a baby or 2, Steve? What time did you get to BD Rallies today?
I got there at 11 o'clock local time. That kickoff was 2, but I wanted to save our seats, Jono. And you got there right before kickoff.
Well done.
When you're president, you have to do things.
And you even got a seat for my daughter, who made her one of her yearly game at the pub.
That's because you wanted her to drive home.
Yeah. It was good of her. Shout out to Cara, who drove me down to the pub.
Cara, who was named after
the great Jamie Carragher. She didn't wear a 23 jersey today, but she did have a Liverpool kit on.
So more props to her. But anyway, we we go in the game. We go in this. We had all the results that went our way, and so we go into this game. We should beat Leicester anyway, right?
Absolutely.
And they kind of like, most people are thinking about the time that we did play on Boxing Day. We came after the Club World Cup, and we had the youth team, and we came back and we had like 1 day's rest, and we just throttled them, and so we're all expecting this game to kind of go similar. I mean, they're not the best team, right? But the fog, which was a great film, by the way. Is it's one of those films if you have to like watch it like 3 or 4 times and really, yeah.
I couldn't see it through the fog.
But there was times watching on telly, we didn't know who had the ball. There was like corner kicks, like
it was great,
and the announcers, obviously at the pitch, were like, "Oh, it went to there," and we're like, "Huh? Who did it go to? We don't." And we're saying shoot anytime because we couldn't see the ball, but obviously
I think Cody Gakpo was playing left wing first half, but I have no idea.
But once again, Leicester, they have a keeper. It's their third string keeper, and he's standing on his head. I mean, it's not like any time a keeper is called upon to play against Liverpool, they just are good, right?
Whenever it's a first time for them or something, or some keeper we never heard of, and that's usually when they play great. And he did pretty well. I mean, he got, I think the one that comes to Salah early in the first half at the back post, good cross from Cody. And I think it might have hit the post anyway. God, there were so many times that we hit the post out of the crossbar today.
And we start off so well, and we're going back to the starting line, like we were saying before. And then the back five kind of picks itself, right? And I know you were thinking, or some people were thinking, Simicus maybe come in because Robbo played midweek, but he does like him a Robbo, Van Dijk, Gomez, Trent, back four, right? So and then we get McAllister, Granberg, who never seems to get a rest, right? And then but Jones comes in, Salah. We got Nunez starts today, and then Gakpo on the left. And I think we all kind of agree that that's probably Gapco's best position, right? Play on the left.
Oh yeah, for sure. And Slot seems to really want to keep him on the left rather than move him around. And Diaz is the one that has to move around a bit. And credit to Diaz, he's able to do that. I think Slot talked about it before the game. And so you I like to give a little bit extra credit to a player when you do ask him to move around, like Gomez last year or Diaz this year. I'm sure Salah could play anywhere, but even with Salah, he wants to keep him in that position. So it's interesting who he chooses to do that with and who he doesn't. Jones moves around a bit. Anyway, thought Gakpo was good in the first half. There was the odd time he was crossing and it didn't make it. But I thought in general so if we're going to talk about what we did well and what we didn't, I actually thought we really played that first half pretty well. I know the goal's frustrating, but it's literally about, they had 2 chances. There's the other one where they could have slid a ball in and the guy didn't get a toe in it. But that was it. And then we created a lot of chances. It's just maybe a little bit too much on the crossing.
Yeah, I thought so too. But I mean, you mentioned Gomez. I thought again.
Yeah,
he was superb, right? I thought. I mean, a lot of people have always, you hate to credit trolls, right? That but they're like, oh, he's not Liverpool quality. Like, dude, when we won the league, when we twatted the league, it was Gomez and Van Dijk, and Gomez is showing that for him that he belongs there. I thought he was superb again, and probably 2 or 3 games running, I thought he was a better center back than Van Dijk.
Right.
And so, we're pressuring him at the beginning, and we should have probably scored 2 or 3 goals probably by then. Quick counter, they score a goal, and we're down 1-0, right? It was very surprising.
Yeah, I mean, totally against the run of play when they scored. I thought we started really well. We gave the one chance away where I think we just got caught a little ahead of the ball on that right side, which happened a couple of times. But we were creating really good chances. I mean, God, they had the one I just referenced with Salah. Salah then gets the ball and there's his trademark kind of left foot curler that hits the post, almost inch perfect. You got the Robo magnificent header. What a header, Steve! I'd have been tops off if that had gone in, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, I would have had to probably earmuffed and blindfolded your daughter when you started doing that, but it would have been worth it, right?
Yeah, and then there's Cody has a couple of chances, I think, before he scores. I think there's a few shots that aren't the greatest shots. I know I'm missing another post. Oh, Curtis Jones has the one where after I think the Salah chance, and then he tries to. I think actually the more I watched it, it looked frustrating at the time that maybe Jones is taking too long, but actually his first touch takes the ball away from the keeper is a really good touch, but then it's just good defense. There's another one that I'm forgetting. Does Nunez has a chance? I mean, maybe I think the shot he has maybe second half. I'm not sure, but we were creating a lot. I just thought we talked about it at halftime that it was maybe just a little bit too cross based rather than trying to kind of get to the get to the byline of it.
Well, I mean, it's so interesting because we had talked about like maybe with Jones and Subasly. Obviously, I think Slot prefers a McAllister and Gravenberch, and I think the two people that he's going to switch back and forth will be Subasly and Jones, right?
Yeah.
And and it was so interesting. Jones is a different player than Subasly. Subasly
Yeah.
is more a little this way, where I think, which is kind of weird because Soboslai is so technical, but he doesn't play technically. He's more power, right? Where Jones has some close control. Where he was like on the sideline that one time we were talking about it, and he was just doing people on the sideline, and he controls the ball, and but it's so good to have different types of midfielders you can bring in, where the other team is like, what's coming at us, right? And it's Leicester. We should have beat them. We made it difficult. It was 2-1 for the longest time. Gapo's goal was sublime, right? I mean, that's that cutting in on the left, and he shoots that far post, and you can just see the type of player he is, and it really stems from the Euros, the World Cup, and he's kind of just built on that. And right now, I mean, he's just as comfortable on that left than he is up front. And is there anybody that has worse luck than Nunez?
I know we talked about that during the game. I really feel a little bit because he does a lot of things really well. There was a ball that came flying at him and he cushioned a header back to someone at one point. It was brilliant. I don't think he gets enough credit for his link up play.
Mhm.
Now, yeah, you can criticize maybe some of his decisions in front of goal a bit more, but the the chance he gets in was it second half where he gets the shot away.
Mhm.
He does everything right, and he's had that a lot last season and this season. Yeah, you could always argue a better placement get
Right.
you a goal, but that's just a really good reaction save from the keeper, and he gets pretty mad about it. But I thought he caused them a fair bit of trouble considering I don't think it was the best suited game, especially once Leicester scored
Mhm.
for him because he likes space in behind.
Right, right.
And we were crossing too much, and he's doing his best. He almost gets a header on one of the crosses, but it's just where he's up against two big guys, Vestergaard, took me a minute, and Connor Cody, and he's trying, but it's like we're not that big a team. He doesn't have another big guy with him. It's like so those aren't the best things, and then there's no real space in behind, and you figured, okay, now it's more of a Jota game, although Jota doesn't score when he comes on either, but
But we scored when Jota came on,
true,
right?
true, and he probably helped in that. So I thought Nunes did okay. I'm sure he's frustrated to not get on the score sheet, and yeah, he needs to score more. But I thought he contributed.
Well, what what's interesting to me is like that last game, Trent made that great pass, right, to Diaz. But I thought today, like you referenced, we really crossed the ball into that center a lot, right? Where normally we're keeping the ball on the ground and we're like linking up, and that's a difference of a style of play when Nunez is in versus a Diaz playing the 9. even when Jota or Gapco play in there, even though Gapco is tall, we don't play that ball, right? I don't think Trent is looking for that first time ball into there. So it's kind of a different style. And I prefer that we just play it on the ground and play link up. You know, especially like you said, they're playing so deep, especially at 1-0. There's not a lot of space behind there to make that. But you are playing against their third choice keeper, maybe just trying to test him. But he made some good saves. But I mean, we're class. I mean, the first half, I think the possession at halftime was 73-27. We outshot them. I mean, to me, very important that Gapco scored right before the half, right?
Yeah, really
And I mean, at that point, I mean, even when they score, I thought we're still going to win. But once Gapco, we drew with Gapco's goal, like there's only going to be one winner of this team, of this tie, and it was going to be us.
Yeah, for sure. I think everybody just felt that sense of relief and confidence that okay, now we got that goal, because you were just a little worried that with all those chances missed, is it gonna is it gonna be a bit you enjoying your tomodachi appetizer there?
Shout out to Tomodachi, one of our favorite place to have Japanese food and sushi here in Austin, Texas. Thank you.
Get yourself out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, once that Gakpo goal goes in, especially coming right before the half, you just felt it was going to turn. But it was important that we come out the second half, and you always felt that also Slot was going to adjust some things. And I just really liked that goal, that Curtis Jones goal in the second half, because it was what we talked about at halftime. Is a little bit more like, don't need to cross every time,
right?
but what you do need is a midfielder to run to the that byline by the 6-yard box and then cut the ball back, and that's the Macca run makes the whole goal.
But I mean, and we talked about this like earlier in the season, that when Jones plays, before he's this Wijnaldum type player that you just kind of playing defensively, your mindset's always to protect the back four. Now he has that license. I know he's only scored 3 goals this season, but he's always in and around the box, and he's so good on the ball too, like in tight spaces. But like I said, when we kept that ball on the ground, we're all over him. I mean, this game could have been 5-6, right?
Yeah,
and
total domination.
But once again, it's one of those things. But it could have been even worse. But we took our foot off the pedal in the second half. Slots managing the game, and we're talking about like, dude, we don't mind winning 2-1, and then we got the third. It's like we definitely are just taking the piss out of the game, right? But it was good to see, Sipkis comes in for Rabo, gives him a rest. Elliott comes in, gets some time in there. Endo obviously comes in, and with the squad that we have, with Kanate and Bradley, probably two weeks away from being part of the first team again.
Hopefully.
And dude, we have and then we're gunning for everything. We're gonna have a full squad, slots managing the team, and what I enjoy, and I think what most people are enjoying right now, until January 1st anyway, is that Mohamed Salah is playing with this happiness. Man, he is smiling, and even when he misses, he's smiling. I'm like, you're not used to that, and I think he's just having the time of his life, and obviously leading scorer in the Premier League, leading assist guy. Like, what more can you ask for that guy?
God, he's unreal right now. He's definitely the best player in the league.
And he has the best Christmas tree for all you haters.
Yeah, I did like that picture. I think he's starting to enjoy the I don't know what should we say, but the kind of social media or the just the general. He was such a quiet guy when he first joined, and you just kind of head down and just. But now I know he posted in the past Christmas picture and stuff and got some heat for it. And he's like, nah, I'm going to double down on that. But he's also, you noticed he's like doing the post-match interview every week now. It's like interesting. And every time he comes on, I'm like, oh, it's going to be another contract talk. But he's actually not wanting to talk about that. He's actually doing it just because he wants to talk about how basically great we are and how I think he's just like, yeah, we're winning this freaking league, guys.
Well, I always like when he says he's very humble, and he is. And then he posts a picture of his 18 pack. I mean, that's what I do
Right.
when I tell people I'm very.
It's under there in the Santa Claus
under my
somewhere.
my winter weight right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, so he's obviously wants to be here.
Yeah.
And the performance, I mean, my God, what a player he is, and he just makes our team so much better. And just the whole team. I mean, it's almost like it's. I mean, look at the bench that we had today, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the people that we could bring off the bench.
Well,
right?
Soboslai was outstanding the last 2 games.
Yeah.
And then we get to rest him, although
Yeah.
now you got
Diaz was on the bench.
He's got a suspension now,
Right.
Soboslai, for the West Ham game, which is a little frustrating given that we rested him. But
well, that ref sucked, dude.
Let's talk about that ref, Steve, or the entire officiating crew. I don't know what. Maybe they had a bad Christmas, all of them, but they just seem like they set out to just destroy a perfectly fine game of football. There was the guy Daka who laid on the ground in the first half because he got his toe hurt by Virgil. Laid on the ground forever, and then ref eventually he's got to blow up at some point. He'll let us play on. He was down on the ground for, I counted it, Steve, 100 seconds until we kicked off again. That's how long the ref stopped it for. At which point he immediately came back on.
Are you going to refer to the 2 minutes of injury time in the first half?
And then there was all the time the goalkeeper wasted where he never even gave the usual kind of, well, I'm going to warn you about this, goalkeeper. And then, wait till the 78th minute to give him a yellow. He didn't even bother with that because once we were winning, he didn't have to. But then there was Jordan Ayew at a corner kick. Just decided to walk back off the field and come back on and lay down. And that was another 15 seconds or so. And then once he put up the BS 2 minutes, then we score a goal, but there's no 30 seconds added on.
No, yeah.
And that was just the first half of nonsense. All the yellow cards.
And then 9 minutes in the second half, John.
All the yellow cards. Joe Gomez's yellow card for trying to get out of the way of a guy who's running downfield. There was just even their yellow cards were just nonsense. I don't know what these guys were. And then the VAR, Steve. Did they review the entire second half before that?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, on the Curtis Jones goal. I think they went all the way back to halftime.
I think they went back to the Jurassic, Steve.
Ooh, the Jurassic. Oh, okay. Come on. Jurassic Park over here. Hey, no, I mean that's ridiculous, man. I mean, like, when do you stop reviewing? I mean, there was like 3 phases before the goal.
And to be fair to Graham Lasso, who generally kind of irritates me a little bit, he was
not a little bit.
He was pretty fair about how poor the officiating was. He was calling out both that he didn't, talk to the goalkeeper, that the VAR situation was insane, and that the yellow cards were ridiculous.
As a ref, Jono, I will tell you that some of the yellow cards were fucking idiotic.
Just unnecessary. There was nothing in that game that needed a yellow. Maybe something.
On those kind of deals, you're like, it's the yellow is for stopping a promising attack.
Right.
There's no promising attack when you're in your own half, and there's 8 men behind the ball. There's really no promising attack there. Gomez hardly touched the guy. He fucking flopped, and that's bullshit, man.
I'm not sure there was any contact on the Gomez.
I mean, it's bullshit. You can't. I mean, as a ref, you have to be close enough to the play, and you got to quit rewarding people for going to ground and complaining. And that has to start at the Premier League, because all the refs and all the players and all the coaches watch this league. It's the most watched league ever. And when you do shit like that, it trickles down. And they may not think it does. It really does. And because refs watch that and like, oh, that's it. And then they call it. And it's like, you have to set an example. And that's a bad example today from the refs. You know what I mean?
Well, the weird thing was, to me, it wasn't consistent either, because he called that soft stuff early on in the game. And then after about 70 minutes or so, he was just like an hour waving play on at everything. And it's like, now it's a physical game. And it's like all the players are just like, I don't know what I don't know what a foul is anymore. But anyway, I don't know who he was. I guess he was a fairly new ref to the league. And
It doesn't matter. Leicester was playing for goal differential at the end of the game. We could have scored 5 or 6 goals, and we didn't really press. And now, and like you said at the pub, like Jota comes in and like pass me the ball, and we're just dicking around in the back.
I think everybody decided
Like,
game's
hey,
over
right.
80th minute.
I mean, we decided we're going to manage the game. Leicester decided we don't want to give up more goals because we're in the relegation battle. They're in the bottom 3 right now.
Right.
We don't want to give any more goals up, which I guess at the end of the day, but I mean, it's still December. It sucks for a team in the Premier League to say we're playing for goal differential. But you know what? We haven't been down there, so we don't know what that atmosphere is like. But we're boss, bro.
We are boss.
You know what I mean? We're in first place. We're playing West Ham on the weekend. First place in the Champions League. We're in the semifinals of Carabao Cup. We're first place in the Premier League by 7 points now.
7 with the game in hand.
You know,
Lovely jubbly.
we're fucking good.
We are fucking good.
They're
Steve.
fucking shit. But you know,
no, we're the boss. Honestly, you couldn't have imagined.
I did. I always imagined.
Here we go. Every season,
Hey.
Steve. It's like we're winning this league.
That's right, and everybody on this podcast knows that.
But you know that technically means you've been wrong quite a few times. But I'm just. But anyway, just unreal how well Slot has handled everything. Yeah, I think you could argue that we've had a few breaks here and there, but some people, apparently Gabby Logan was saying that we've not really had a major injury in a major position. I'm like, well, Allison, Jota might beg to differ, and some others, but
Konate.
Right, literally right now, our starting center backs out. So it's like, we've just, I think you got to give credit that we've handled when people have been out. And you mentioned Jones earlier. It just reminded me, he's only had on 3 goals, but he was out for a long period of time too, So and he hasn't been starting even when he was fit necessarily all the games. So I think he's on a pretty good goals, contribution per 90 or whatever. So I mean, just amazing. I think what's really nice right now is lots of people are coming into form. It looks like Robbo's a little bit, coming back into a bit more form. Yeah, it'd be nice to get Connor back to give Trent a rest here and there, but I think Trent will have just to go for a couple more games. But just looks really good all over the pitch, with Jota back, and Gomez doing so well with Ibu being out, and dude, we're in good shape, man.
Well, I don't know how good a shape I'm in after a week in Cozumel and drinking and stuff like that. So
we got a tournament in January. Steve.
Yeah, on the 19th.
We'll
podcast from there and say, hey,
slightly dry January, is it?
Yes,
a little moist January.
moist. But John, we're the boss. It's been fun bringing all these podcasts to you guys this year. So hopefully you guys all had a safe holidays, whatever, like I said, whatever celebrations you guys recognize, we support. And because as long as there's drinking involved, right? But or not. You don't have to drink because John and I will take care of you guys if you guys don't drink. But anyway, we wish you guys a safe holiday season, and we will see you guys on Sunday after the match on West Ham, right? So until then, put on your notifications, subscribe, like, and come back on Sunday for more crack from Jono and El Presidente. Cheers.
Cheers.